Hi, welcome to part 2, which is RCHOP chemotherapy. Thanks for returning. I hope you enjoyed part 1, which covered my symptoms and my diagnosis. If you watched that one, you'll know the decision to treat me was with RCHOP. I do clarify that decision wasn't made by one single person only. It was decided by what's called an MDT group, certainly in the UK anyway. MDT stands for Multidisciplinary Team, basically a group of medical experts who hopefully will arrive at the best decision for your treatment, the best, to get you the best treatment. With a group of people, all the different experts. They can be anything from oncologists, surgeons, hematologists, pathologists, clinical nurses, etc., etc. So you've got a wide variety there that can comment and look at your symptoms and your scans and all the information regarding you as an individual, and between them, with all their expertise, come up with the best decision. So for me, they chose RCHOP. So RCHOP was the decision. It's so called RCHOP because each of the letters stands for the name, one of the names of the drugs that are administered as part of the RCHOP treatment. RCHOP. So I'm going to try and read these out, the names of the drugs. Please forgive me if I get some of the pronunciations wrong, but I'll try my best. So R stands for rituximab, C stands for cyclophosphamide, H stands for hydroxydornarubicin, O stands for oncovin, and P stands for prednisolone. Certainly in my case it did. RCHOP is usually given to the patient on 6 occasions, what they call cycles, with a 3-week interval in between each cycle that you receive. Regular blood tests are also given constantly throughout the whole course, basically to monitor all your different blood counts and see if they need to give you anything to pick some up, or basically just to get you in the best health possible to receive the chemotherapy. Firstly, when they start on your visit, they'll fit you with a cannula, which is usually fitted in your arm or your hand. Some people do get lines fitted, which they keep in place for multiple visits. I didn't have that though. I received a new cannula, which was fitted every time I had a cycle. The cannula is basically so each drug can be administered to you intravenously. They'll hang bags up and they slowly drip into and get put into your vein. They start off with the first bag at quite a slow rate to make sure that you don't have any complications. If that bag is to go well, they would slowly increase the rate at which you receive the next bit of your treatment, and etc., etc., just basically to lessen the time frame that you're there. You don't, the shorter time frame you can be there, the better. The complete process for each cycle that you have takes hours to complete, but all within a single day. My cycles took usually around 6 hours, roughly. They vary, but circa 6 hours to complete. And I received my first one on the 23rd of March 2023. Then with all the intervals, I received my 6th and last one on the 6th of July 2023, and that completed my RCHOP chemotherapy treatment. I usually had a family member, as you, like I say, you're there for a good few hours each time, so I usually had a family member as support and company for quite a lot of the time, but not always. If you've got a bit of company or someone that can come with you, it just breaks it up a little bit. But if I didn't have anybody, I'd read a book or take my tablet, watch something on the TV on the tablet, or whatever, just to pass the time. As long as there's no complications, the process is fairly straightforward, to be honest with you, or at least it was for me. I didn't have any complications. The worst thing probably was having the cannula fitted in the first place. And you're monitored constantly while you're receiving all the selection of medication, and offered plenty of teas, coffees and soft drinks, and even provided food for your lunch period to keep you going. Once all the RCHOP has been completed, then you're allowed to go home and start your recovery, ready for your next cycle. I was given a treatment book at the time, at the start of treatment. It was which the nurse filled out with all the details of what drugs I've been given, my contact details, diagnosis information, pretty much all the standard information that they need to be logged. But also this book became my personal logbook, where I could add information on how I was feeling, and I could list all the different side effects that I would endure, and also the severity, from low, medium or severe that I was experiencing them. With RCHOP, you do get many side effects that can be experienced. It doesn't mean you're going to get them, but there's a fair list, and I did experience a few. I will mention these later on, which ones I did have and what they did about it. So for me, the logbook was fantastic, and for the small effort that you need to do to list your side effects, etc., was invaluable in assisting me with my chemotherapy. For example, after cycle number 1, I really suffered with sickness. It was terrible, and I listed this in my book, and on seeing this, my oncologist changed my anti-sickness tablets, and the side effect going forwards for future cycles lessened dramatically. It really did make it so much easier for me to handle. And this process of recordings in your book may help you with other things also. Some of the other side effects, they can only make things better for you if you let them know how you're feeling and how you are, if you're struggling, or what you may want help with. So they need that feedback from you. So the book is ideal for that. Perfect. Anything that can help you with your treatment going forwards, that's going to make it that bit better or a bit easier for you, it is definitely worth doing, for sure. Side effects I really got was after my very first cycle. I had reduced energy levels, although going into chemotherapy, lymphoma had already reduced my energy levels. Chemotherapy just seemed to exacerbate it and make it worse. For the first couple of days after chemotherapy, cycle number 1, I also had diarrhea. They gave me tablets for that, which I took, and within a couple of days that was rectified. Thankfully. I felt sick, as I've mentioned, but they changed my anti-sickness tablets to another type, and things were so much better after that. So again, because of the feedback, I started to get sore mouth, and in the end, which ended up turning into ulcers in the end. As soon as I'd reported that, I was given a mouthwash to take, and that helped with that very quickly as well. Stomach pains I had, but I'm not sure if that's from the chemotherapy, because I had that going into the chemotherapy. I had that already anyway, so it may not have been because of the chemotherapy, but I had to put up with it as well at the same time. after it was strange because after I got rid of the diarrhea, it turned the opposite way, to constipation. But they dealt with that again by just providing me with this liquid mix that you could have and take, and again it was something that was rectified just with a bit of help. Loss of appetite, that was a big one. I mean, I was always struggling a little bit before chemotherapy, but once I'd had cycle number 1, that became worse. One thing they do to help you with that is give you protein shakes. So I was given a wide selection of protein shakes. It's like you can either have juice flavored ones, fruit juice flavored ones, or milkshake ones. I preferred the milkshake ones personally. They come in a wide range of flavors. Mine was actually called Fortisip, the product. I'm not advertising, but that was what I used at the time. Lots of different flavors. Some I didn't like, some I did. So I had one of each to start with to find out which ones I liked. Then I got a batch of all the ones that I liked, and that helped. Also helps with your weight and gives you some of the proteins that you're missing out on. So that helped. I think probably the worst of all was mood, really. I found it very difficult, feeling unwell almost every second of every day. That was really tough. So you do get some very down moments. You've got to try and keep them to a minimum, obviously, if you can. As I've said previously, positivity, I think, goes a long way with your recovery. So but you can't help but feel down sometimes, but a bit of company helps with that. Now those really were the worst I felt, as certain medications, after I logged them in my book, were altered and changed after cycle number 1, and a lot of my side effects lessened, thankfully, with the doctor's help. But I still experienced them after each cycle, but not to the extent, and they were much more bearable. Some people seem to find things to become a little bit more difficult as they get to sort of cycles 4, 5, 6. Now, I didn't. Number 1 really was the worst one for me. Once I got that out the way and I logged all my side effects and things like that, the doctors tried their best to make things better for me, which on the whole they did. And I progressed through the cycles pretty much, much better than the first one was. I did experience some other side effects as time progressed. Shortness of breath after short walks. I did continue to make walks because I tried to keep fitness up as much as possible, although it's very difficult. But short walks I could do. I used to get short of breath from that. My nails, I struggled with my nails. They sort of cracked up a little bit. It didn't look very nice, but obviously they get better with time after you finish your chemotherapy, so I wouldn't worry too much. Neuropathy, my fingertips, tingly pins and needles in my fingertips and also my toes. And because of that, actually, one of the drugs I was receiving, they reduced the amount that I was getting with each cycle because they didn't want me to have a long-lasting lifetime effect of the neuropathy. So they tried to fix that as soon as they possibly could. Generally now, a tiny bit in my fingers, but it's pretty much back to normal. I do still have a little bit in my toes, but I can live with that. Hair loss, which was expected. For me, I have short hair anyway, so it didn't really bother me, but I can really understand how it does upset some people. I guess the only thing you can do, there is a cap that you can wear which is supposed to help you with hair loss, help you not lose your hair so much. Also, people that lose their hair can wear hats, different headwear, hats and headscarves. I've seen lots of people wearing. I'm sure if it makes you feel better, then it's worth going with. Wigs. These days, wigs are so natural, people wouldn't know that you're wearing one, so that's another solution, I suppose. So that's hair loss. For me, it wasn't too bad. Once you've finished all of the 6 cycles, then it's time to return home and start your recuperation from the chemotherapy, and generally, hopefully, start to get better. I did generally find the whole process mentally and physically very tough, but you have to do it. If you want to get better, it's worth the effort and worth a bit of suffering. I had faith in all the doctors, etc. I put trust in what they were doing for me in an attempt to try and make me better. It does get tough at times, as I've said, but I try to think of the end game, where hopefully I'd be fit again to continue life as normal and enjoy times with my friends and family. I did allow people to help me along the way and support me. Support is vital, really. You need that, even if it's just someone just taking time to have a bit of a chat with you or a cup of tea. It's really does make a difference, and they did help get me through. So that's sort of it for chemotherapy. That was my chemotherapy, my treatment to try and deal with my lymphoma, my RCHOP chemo. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it helpful. Please like and subscribe and comment and ask questions if you think there might be something I could answer for you. I would always try my best to answer and help you if I can. My aim of these videos is to try and help people. So I hope you return for what will be the next part number 3, which I will be completing in the near future. Thank you very much.